Hi everybody, this is Love 1911, back to make a which I hope to be a helpful review or just helpful little hints on the RCBS Chargemaster combo. Some of the things I've run into that I've listened to a few videos. I haven't listened to them all, so there may be an explanation of this somewhere, but I haven't seen it. So just wanted to throw it at you so you knew a little bit more about the RCBS, some of the tips that I've come up with. The RCBS Chargemaster is what I use for mostly my rifle rounds. I don't use it much for handgun, only because it takes so long to do every single one with this machine. If you're doing 100 or 200 at a time, it takes forever. Unless you like that kind of slow, agonizing death, I don't. So I use this mostly for my rifle because, you know, in rifle you want it down to 1/10 of a grain to keep it nice and accurate, because at least it takes all the excuses out of why you're shooting crappy. And at least, you know, the powder charge is one aspect of creating accurate ammunition. So you might as well at least take that out of the equation, and you can with this machine. This one actually measures it down to the 1/10 of a grain, so it gets pretty darned accurate. But there's some of the things about, one thing I want to go over in this particular video is the calibration. Now, this particular machine, I'm using a new camera here, so it's really weird the way this one's set up. So bear with me. Okay, first thing, this is the RCBS Chargemaster. It's, you know, got the hopper up there. It's got your keypad right there where you can input the grains. You can see here, you get, well, there's your hopper with a cover. This is your keypad, and of course you've got 1 through 9 plus the dot, 0, cancel, stop. The keypad is just where you enter the grains or the charge that you want to put in each shell. And of course the cancel stop, I'll go over that in just a moment. To your right, the last two columns you've got on the this column right here, this column here, you got edit memory, new memory, recall memory, and that allows you to actually input your loads into the machine so you can store them if you wish. Most reloaders that I know, myself, I'm probably not as anal as many of them are, but I usually just tag mine. And what I do is on a box, when I'm actually making my ammo, I actually put a labeler, I put down what it is. Like in this case, I'm using a 168 Match King. I'm using IMR 4064, 41.5 grains. I'm using bench rest 2, which is CCI bench rest primers, an overall case length of 2.80 on this particular rounds that I did here. So that's how I label them. But you can, if you wish, you can input them into this machine. I just don't like messing with them. So that's pretty much that column right here. That's pretty much what you do there. And this, of course, is when you're entering something. If you make a mistake, you backspace. Trickle and dispense are probably the two that you're going to use the majority of the time. Enter is just what you use when you're putting the memories in. That's where you actually enter it. So we'll be using this, and of course your keypad. All right, and this is your actual pan right here, And then these are two weights. You get a 50 and a 50, totaling 100. Now when you calibrate them, okay, here's your actual display. On the left it shows grains, or you can go by, go by metric if you want. You can 0 it. The next one's a calibration, and the next one's where you turn the machine off and on. Turn the machine off and on, it's real simple, just barely really touch it, and it shuts it off. And to turn it on, just push the button, it'll beep, an irritating beep might I add, but it'll count down to 0, and it will automatically 0 and stabilize itself, which is what it's doing right now. Now, one of the tips I'm going to tell you is right here where it says stable. Okay, remember that little triangle? That's going to come together. It's going to come together here pretty soon. And of course, you've got over and under. So if you're overcharged, it'll say over. If you're undercharged, it'll say under, which is going to be pretty easy to figure out, because if you put 41.5 in here, for example, and it says 41.7, that's over. And if it says 41.3 and you're trying to get 41.5, it's under. So that's pretty simple. But anyway, this is what I'm going to show you. Right now we're going to calibrate it, just so you see how to calibrate it. Now, first thing here, you pull the pan off. That's the first thing. Pan comes off, and some of the grains come out. So you got to be careful when you handle this machine. This is one of the things I want to say, is everything goes together easily. Touch it gently. It's a scale. So you can't go, I've seen some of the videos where guys throw these weights on the scale and take them off roughly, and that throws your calibration off. So be careful with that. Okay, right now it says 175.2 negative. which is approximately the weight of this pan. Actually, this pan is supposed to weigh 175 to 175.1. Where it said right there 175.1 is what it's always registered. But you see now it's flipping around a little bit because I just turned all my fluorescent lights on, and I'm sure there's some sort of electrical pulses going somewhere, but for description purposes you'll figure this out. First thing we want to do is we got the scale off, the two weights are over here. We want to hit calibrate. Okay, it's calibrated to 0. We hit the calibrate button again. Okay, now you notice that's stable. I don't want to push the calibrate button again until it says stable. Now it says to put a 50 gram weight on it. So we take the 50 and we put that on gently, and then we go ahead and hit calibrate. Now see, your stable just came up. Hit calibrate. Okay, now it says put the 100 on. This one takes a little longer to actually calibrate. So we take the 100 and we place that on gently. Okay, stable comes on as you saw. Hit calibrate again. Now once it says 100 on it, that means you're calibrated. Okay, we're at 100. So now gently take the weights off. Okay, and then you'll see it come back to 0. Then you take your pan and put the pan back on, and it'll show about 175 to 175.1. Mine usually shows 175.1. And then I hit 0. And that zeroes it out to exactly what it's supposed to be. And you make sure it says stable. So right now we're zeroed. You're ready to go. Now, so what you do, in this case we're loading some 308 rounds, and we want to do 41.5 grains. Hit 41.5. And that shows up on the scale as what you want to enter. Now I've got it set up on automatically dispense. And what that means is that once it dispenses the powder into the little pan, and I put that into my shell, and I put that pan back on, without me having to put 41.5 dispense again, it automatically starts dispensing the next round. And it'll continue doing so until I hit cancel or stop, which is that button right there. Okay? So just remember that. You can set it up for automatically dispensing so you're not constantly putting in the 41.5, enter, 41.5, or dispense, 41.5 dispense. It gets old, so this just does it automatically. So then what I do is I hit, whoops, turn it up here. We hit dispense. I've already entered the 41.5, you hit dispense. And that will start popping out the powder. And as it pops out the powder, then this is reading off what it's supposed to be. And when I get to 41.5, it should start slowing down just before it. Now, notice on the left where that little thing's flashing, that's the stable button. When it finally gets to 41.5, and this thing, once it starts getting slower, this little nozzle starts spinning even slower. I don't know if you can see it turning. Now you look at it. It'll show you the case count, that's 001, and then it'll tell you what the charge is. Good news, this one's dead on, so it's 41.5. It's stable. Now the thing is, what it does is it goes to 41.5, and then it'll beep, and then it'll tell you the case count. Okay, in this case it says 001. And then it will go back to what it measures, which is 41.5. I saw a video where the guy was, once it beeped, the guy saw 41.5 and took it right off the scale, took the pan right off the scale and dumped it into his shell or casing. That's not the way to do it, because what you want to wait is for the case count to go away and the second measurement to come up, because that one could be off. It could be off 2-3 grains, it could be short 2 or 3 grains. And not that that's going to make a huge difference in just whether the shot fires or not, but those extra 2 or 3 grains could make a difference in a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch or whatever it might be. It may not. But if you want to get everything perfect, then you've got to go ahead and just wait for that second measurement to come up. So we'll try it again. So I'm just going to take the powder and put it back here in the hopper. And I'm sorry I can't do all this. Last time I spilled powder everywhere, so we don't want to do that again. Okay, put that back in the hopper, and put this back on. Okay, now see, it's automatically going to start dispensing again. Okay, so it starts dispensing. I'm starting to question myself. Now, I want you to watch this. Okay, it's dispensing. When it gets to 41.5, it'll slow down, it'll stop, it'll beep, and then your case count will come up. In this particular case, it should say 002. And when it says 002, after that, then it'll come back with the measurement again. You don't want to count on this one that's doing it right now. You don't want to count on this one. You want to wait till after it beeps in a second. Okay, then you'll see the case count, 002. The next measurement is what you want to look at. If that says 41.2, you need to hit the trickle button up here. Hit trickle and just nudge it a couple times until you get to exactly 41.5. If it's over, then you need to take a little powder scoop and pull all that powder out and put it back in the hopper until it actually reads 41.5. So that's how you get complete accuracy, and that's how you use this. So, and then occasionally I would every so often I would go ahead and recalibrate it. Now, if you have a lot of electrical lights, like right now I haven't used this thing in a while, and I usually do some things to try to prevent some of the electricity or some of the static charge in my equipment. I have not done that for this demonstration, so you may see a little flipping around here like it is now, but that's 41.5. Now, the biggest tip to this machine, the biggest one that will frustrate you more than anything in the world, you put the powder in the hopper and you dispense all your stuff. But when you're done, you have to empty that hopper, which is real simple. They come with this real handy little thing here. And all you do is you scoot the machine over to the side of the bench, and you just put your bottle underneath, and you go ahead and turn that little knob until that half moon cutout there is showing open. And the powder will come just falling right out, right into your bottle, and you're good to go. Now, the problem with that is that when you're done, there's one thing you need to not forget. Don't forget to shut it. Because what happens is you're done with that session, you've loaded, you come out here, you're all alone, you're having a good time, going to load some ammunition, get it all ready for tomorrow's match or tomorrow's shooting session, and you didn't realize you left that little knob open, and all this brand new powder that you just put in there comes falling out the bottom end, and you really don't notice it until all of a sudden you look at the level and you say, damn, I'm not putting much in there, and finding out that it's all laying on the bench. And I don't like taking powders off of benches, because you never know the grit and the goo that you might find on the bench, you know, old bugs or whatever. Because out in this particular case, I'm out in the garage, so who knows what's laying on this bench sometime. Even though I keep a pretty clean bench, still stuff gets on it: sand, dirt, bugs, grit, pollen, blah blah blah. So I just try to eliminate that. So just remember to close that little vent up, and you'll have a lot happier sessions. Because I've learned most of my four-letter words by that happening to me. So that's about it on the calibration and on the dispensing. Remember, just to recap, calibrate, okay, wait for the stable button. That's the main thing, wait for it to stabilize. Same thing with the you know how to use the trickle and the dispense on the right-hand side. You know how to put the grains in, which is pretty simple. And you know to make sure that little knob thing is closed. And that's just one tip I can give you on this Chargemaster combo. And hopefully that helps some of you when you buy one of these, some of the pitfalls I have found that will keep you from creating the same problems. Okay? Thank you so much, and hope this helps to somebody. Thanks.